Yo, what's good YouTube, man? It's Gary with another Fan TV, man. Back at you another video. Like the content of the video, go smash that like button, like the content of this channel. Go ahead, subscribe, man. Look, so we got to talk about some Ravens news from today. The Ravens have done several things, after signing Derrick Henry yesterday. The Ravens have done several things today that I think that's of note to talk about, right? Okay, so now, pretty much all of these moves are um, cap clearing kind of moves to create more space, right? Now, the Ravens could be doing that for two reasons, right? One, the start of the new league year, I believe, is today, 4 p.m., right? So the Ravens need to be cap compliant by then so they can sign Derrick Henry, sign their draft picks when they do, actually draft players. Also, they could be gearing up, clearing cap space to, make a move for whoever that player may be that, gets cut, released, whatever that the case may be, right? Considering how the Ravens normally work and normally do things, right? All right. So let's talk about the three things that they've done so far today, and just say why I think all three of these moves make sense. Okay, so the first one that happened today was Ronnie Stanley. They reworked his contract. All right, so um, as of right now, this is what we know about it. He was due $15 million this year. He's gonna take a pay cut. He's gonna reduce his cap hit, create more space for the Ravens. Now, for Ronnie Stanley, also this is also good for Ronnie Stanley in a sense because they changed his contract to be more incentive based. So if Ronnie Stanley plays well this year, it probably starts in the majority of the games. They probably have stuff like that inside the contract. He can make back most of this money, right? So it's not lost money for Ronnie Stanley. He plays well. He stays on the field. He'd probably get it all back, right? And if that happens, the Ravens will be happy for that. I would be happy for that. All right. So for me, right now, that makes sense, right? Because we just talked about the first thing right there, injuries. Ronnie Stanley's injury history has been very, very concerning over the last several years. Really, since he's got paid, unfortunately, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. There have been flashes of top-level play from Ronnie Stanley, but there have been too many inconsistencies and too much play that, lack of a better word, that has been disappointing, right? So for the Ravens and Ronnie Stanley, it makes sense for both sides to get this number done, to get this thing done, to reduce his cap hit, right? This is a move that I think all Ravens fans were expecting to happen since the end of the season. We was talking about it. I was talking about it personally during the season, right? That Ronnie Stanley is going to have to do something because at his current number, the play wasn't backing that up, right? So it makes sense, okay? Now, the second move is the Ravens officially have released Tyus Bowser, outside linebacker, okay? Now, this ends the Tyus Bowser saga mystery. It kind of ends it with a still a big question mark over the entire thing, right? But let's talk about the financial part of it, okay? The Ravens cut Tyus Bowser, saving them $5.5 million in cap space, okay? So that's a big chunk of change for a guy that did not suit up all of last year, missed a lot at the end of 2022, right? We're really talking about the last time we really seen Tyus Bowser full go is 2021 when he played really well and deserved his contract that he got, all right? So for Tyus Bowser, it was weird the entire season during training camp. They were saying like we're going all the way back to last training camp. The Ravens and John Harbaugh were saying, yeah, we're seeing like Tyus Bowser like he might come back, he can come back, he can come back. As it got closer to the season starting, John Harbaugh didn't want to answer questions about Tyus Bowser anymore. As we got later on in the season, he said things like, well, it's up to Tyus Bowser, right? It was a very, very weird and strange situation, right? When you have your coach go from, yeah, he'll be back soon to, you got to ask Tyus Bowser about it, like, you got to ask the player about that. Something was off. Something wasn't communicated properly. I think I saw a clip where Tyus Bowser just said that he had a lot of fluid in his knee. It wasn't bouncing back the way he thought it would. That he would still love to be a Raven, things like that. This was before he got cut. This was a couple days ago. So yeah, I mean, maybe that was just it, right? They didn't want to release it to the public for whatever reason, but it was just a very, very strange situation how it was handled. But that saga is over with. Tyus Bowser, I would assume, won't be back for the Ravens. There's no point of that. So he'll be on to a new team. I wish him the best. Like I said, when he played well, when he was at, I guess his peak, he was one of the Ravens' better pass rushers, right? He had a breakout year. I think he had like 7.5 sacks, something like that. Could still drop in coverage, caught interceptions on Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. I still remember Tyus Bowser being a good player from years ago, right? It's unfortunate the injuries have done what they've done, but that's life in the NFL, right? All right. So now the last move, right? That move that literally just happened not too long ago, just happened as I'm recording this video. The Ravens are going to trade offensive tackle, right tackle Morgan Moses to the Jets for a fourth round pick swap. And I think the Jets are going to get a sixth round comp pick as well, right? So the Ravens are going to go up from 135 to 113 in the fourth round. The EDC obviously is valuing this draft class wants to get as many close to top 100 picks as possible. Because those are your guys that you can see starting from year one is guys in that top 100 range. So 113 is slightly outside of that, but still close enough. We find the deal with that. All right, now as for the Morgan Moses part of it, right? Morgan Moses was a very, very good run blocker. Okay, very, very good run blocker. Very physical, dominant presence on the outside. As a pass blocker, he left a lot to be desired, right? Him and Ronnie Stanley on as each of your tackles had Lamar Jackson running for his life a lot last season, okay? A lot of these highlight clips of Lamar, wow, Lamar can do this, he can do that. He's spinning around in the pocket and throwing across the field versus Jacksonville. A lot of that is because the offensive line in front of him didn't pass block very well. All right. Just to be completely honest about it. All right. Yes, Lamar Jackson is amazing enough to make those plays still workable plays, but I would like for my quarterback to be able to sit back there without having to do that. Right. Now, Morgan Moses, anybody with speed really, really troubled Morgan Moses. Right. Will Anderson twice last year really got after Morgan Moses. We're talking about as a rookie, right? Will Anderson is a really good player. He had a good rookie season. Like, don't get me wrong, number 3 pick in the draft, all of that, right? But he really got at like that performance twice really sticks in my head of him really getting after Morgan Moses. Okay, so the Ravens went into this offseason with the plan that we're going to revamp the offensive line, right? Now from last year, you're probably only going to have 2 of those 5 guys back. You got Linderbaum and you got Ronnie Stanley, all right? Everybody else is up in the air now. So, and honestly, I am for that. I think that's the right decision, okay? I still would like to see Kevin Zeitler back, but if you want to promote some of the young guys, draft offensive tackle, things like that. I'm cool with that, right? I think that this paves the way for the Ravens to go offensive tackle at 30 in the draft. So I'm waiting to see what that move is like, right? So those are the big 3 moves. Now, as far as things on the horizon, right? Like I said, the Ravens are doing these moves for 2 reasons. To either get, well, I mean, it's probably both, honestly. It's not the either or thing. It's both reasons, right? The Ravens have to be cap compliant by 4 p.m. And they have to clear space so they can sign other players in general, right? Whether it's they're signing their own players. They also brought back Darius Washington today, too. I forgot to say that. They brought him back. So I like Darius Washington. He's a good nickel player. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt again because I think he can start in that role. But anyway, sorry, what was I saying? Okay, so yeah, for 2 reasons. So cap compliant and to sign other players, whether it's their own players or other free agents and draft picks in the future, right? All right, so cool. Now, the reason this is interesting to me is because the Chargers are going to release several players today that the Ravens could be interested in, right? So the Chargers did a lot of restructuring the contracts a year ago, and now they're having to cut players to kind of get their cap back in order, right? So we're talking about Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, right? So these are 4 Chargers that could be cut. Now, the report was saying that Keenan Allen is the safest of those 4 to stay, which makes sense. Him and Herbert have great chemistry. Keenan Allen was still very, very productive last year. He's one of my favorite receivers in the league to watch. So I would imagine that the Chargers want to try to keep Keenan Allen on board, right? So 100% cool with that, all right? Khalil Mack and Mike Williams could be of interest to the Ravens. Now, Khalil Mack had a great year last year in terms of sack production, sack numbers. I don't know how much he's going to cost in total, but big physical edge, can still get after the pass rush, can still get after the quarterback, excuse me. He sounds like the kind of guy the Ravens would be interested in. Now, it all depends on how much money does he want. Like I said, they had a really productive year last year, right? All depends on what kind of money he wants. Now, the other guy, Mike Williams, big 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver. Now, Mike Williams comes with a extensively long injury history, right? That is why he's going to be cut. More likely to be cut or traded. We'll see what they do, but he's probably the best jump ball receiver in the NFL. And I say that pretty confidently. Nobody can really go up and get a 50-50 ball like Mike Williams, right? Also, he's just a solid, good receiver when he's on the field. But that's the key thing with Mike Williams when he's on the field. All right. So, like I said, those 2 guys I'll be looking out for the Ravens. I don't know. Like I said, whatever depends on how much money they have, what they want. But Khalil Mack and Mike Williams, It won't be both, obviously. If they get one of them, that'd be great. But those are two guys that I would be interested in and exploring if I'm the Ravens, right? So we'll see what happens from there. But that's kind of your Ravens news from the day. The Ravens make a bunch of moves to get cap compliant, create space in the cap, and there are a couple of Chargers players just to look out for. So give me your thoughts on today's Ravens news, man, and we'll talk about it in the comments, man. But it's Gabriel, which is on Fan TV. I'm out.